Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has welcomed his British counterpart David Lammy in Beijing. The UK's top diplomat is in China seeking to overhaul bilateral ties. Both officials met at Beijing's Diaoyutai state guesthouse. Mr Lammy is the first senior British official to make a trip to China since the new Labour government took office in July. Before leaving London, he pledged to challenge China on sensitive issues like Russia's war on Ukraine, and Mr Lammy said there's a need to engage with Beijing to support the UK and global interests. And for more, Olly Barratt joins us live from London. Olly, this trip, Mr Lammy wanting to balance the need to maintain trade with also the need, he says, to raise sensitive issues. This balance, what shape might it actually take when it comes to speaking to and engaging with the government in Beijing?
Well, certainly the government in London knows it has a difficult balance to strike here. The word pragmatic is one that's been repeated by government officials in the build-up to this trip and as this trip got underway, with the UK attempting to recalibrate relations with Beijing so that it can make the most of what it sees as significant opportunities on the economic side, but also other areas of cooperation around things like climate change and health, for example. But also insisting, as David Lammy arrived in China, that the UK and the Foreign Secretary himself would challenge China on issues on which the UK and China disagree. So that, as I say, a very difficult balance to strike in terms of moving the relationship forward. The new Labour government here in the UK has said and has felt that the previous Conservative administrations had what they call an inconsistent approach to their relations with China, and the UK government certainly believes that by injecting some consistency perhaps into that relationship, then it will be able to move to a place where it can benefit from some of what it describes as the opportunities, but also take a tough stance on what it sees as some of the challenges posed by its relationship with Beijing.
Well, of course, part of those opportunities might be available when he visits China's financial hub, Shanghai, tomorrow. What do we know about his itinerary there?
The itinerary is interesting, actually, because Shanghai will involve David Lammy meeting with British businesses that do trade in and with China, and that is a clear decision from the government to make that part of the trip so it can point to some of the opportunities on the economic side. The UK government is engaged in a push for growth in its own economy, with a budget approaching at the end of this month in which it needs to raise money from all over the place and balance public finances, but also push for economic growth, which makes all of that easier. And China is a key part of that ambition. When this trip was reported in the first place, we thought that David Lammy would be going to China actually for 8 or 9 days. That was what was initially reported. So it looks like a slightly truncated schedule. That might be because of some of the pressure that was being exerted on the government here in London in the build-up to trip to make sure that some of the difficult issues around Hong Kong and Taiwan and human rights and other issues as well were to be raised by David Lammy while in China. And that just again representing the difficult balance that the UK government is having to strike here with regards to what is now a 2-day trip to China, with the Foreign Secretary back in London over the weekend.
Thanks for that. Olly Barratt reporting live from London.